Hey guys, welcome back to nationalhighschoolfootball.com or nationalhsfb.com, as we lovingly like to say around here. I'm Larry Godwin, your host, back with my counterpart in crime, Joe Mamone with Prep Gridiron Logistics. As we promised you guys, we have the best football minds in America show up for our weekly podcast, and tonight is no different. To say this guy is a well-known name, especially in the state of Georgia when it comes to high school football, would be an understatement. But you guys on the national scene are getting introduced to the Creekside Seminoles head football coach, Maurice Dixon, who pulled off what many consider is a stunner by defeating the DeSoto DeSoto Eagles from Texas. And Coach, welcome to the program.
Hey, thank y'all. I'm glad to be here.
Coach, listen, we all know what happened last year. We don't have to belabor that point. So last year, it was a completely different outcome. And this year, DeSoto comes to you guys. And to say that when that headline came across that Creekside was up at halftime, I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And then when the headline came across that you guys beat them pretty soundly, 70-28? I think that shocked a lot of people. I actually had to call up a couple of people and say, is this score real? So anyway, how did you feel when that final buzzer went off? Was it just another game that you just won, or was it a big win? Was it a signature win for your program?
I mean, it was a signature win, but it's more of validation of the hard work that our kids put in during the summertime. A lot of them played in that game last year where we got thumped. So they had a bitter taste in their mouth. So we worked in the off season. You know, that was kind of like bulletin board material. We just wasn't going to happen again.
Whew. And Larry, I don't know if you know this, of the 28 points that the Noles gave up, 21 were on 3 kickoff returns.
That's crazy.
Right, Coach? Right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, what's crazy is, my principal, she's become a football fan. She just texted me after practice, Coach, the offense defense was good, but we got to work on that kickoff team. We got to get that fixed.
I was about to ask you, have y'all started working on your kickoff coverage?
Yeah, but it's been about an hour today on it. We off this week, so that's kind of like the points of emphasis today was to get better at kickoff coverage.
Yeah, but can you imagine, Larry? It could have been 70-7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Larry, I wanted to review with you, and I want to talk to Coach. A lot of people who visit our website and listen to our podcast, they're not really familiar with Creekside. They're familiar with the big teams in Georgia that you hear about all the time, like Grayson and Milton and Buford and those types. Right. But explain to us, to the listener who doesn't really know that much about Creekside, about where Fairburn is and things like that.
All right. Well, Creekside High School is in Fairburn, Georgia. It's about 20 minutes south of the airport, in South Fulton, a part of Fulton County. So we are part of the county that's Atlanta's in, but we really like small town Georgia. When you go outside of our stadium or outside of our school, you'll see some cows, you'll see a couple farms, but at the same time, we're just a hop and a jump in a step like from the airport or from downtown. So we're very well settled in a good space. And I feel like we've been playing good football for a while, man. This is my 9th year, and like over the last 5 years, we've had a 1-over-10 games and played in the state championship, lost in the semifinals. So we've been there. We might not be as big a national team, but we've hopped out on the porch a couple of times, and we've been successful when we took our
ball. And Coach, is your rival Langston Hughes, basically?
Yeah, you would say that, and maybe like Westlake.
Okay.
Yeah, like our rivals.
And you're 4A in Georgia?
We're 4A.
4A. Okay, good. So Larry, since 2020, I was looking back. Since 2020, Creekside's overall record is 54-14.
Yeah,
that's a 79% winning percentage, which is huge. And Coach, I'm familiar with where you are. As you know, my son goes to Auburn. He's a junior there. And every time I fly into Atlanta, Larry, as you know, from New York, New Jersey, to get to Auburn,
it's not easy.
You fly into Atlanta, I rent a car, and then I hop on 85 and I drive to Auburn in about an hour and 20 minutes. And Fairburn is an exit right off of 85 south when we're driving. So Coach, I'm going to stop off there next time, and you can show me around. But Larry, they have 5 NFL alums. I mean, the name that I'm most familiar with is Eric Berry, who played for the Chiefs. Who's Joshua Holsey, Terrence Parks, Rokevius Watkins, Javon Baker, 5 NFL alums from Creekside, which shows you
that's impressive, Coach.
He's saying he's out in the sticks, but there's a lot of ballers out there too.
Yeah, and I know all those guys personally because they grew up a little bit after I came out of Creekside, but Eric Berry is a great guy, man. He does a lot of good things in our community. Hosley and Rokevius, they actually coach at Langston, if I'm for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I coached Javon Baker's junior year, so we got a rich tradition of playing football, man. We ball a little bit.
And Larry, I'm a huge music fan. What I'm most proud of when I want to talk Creekside, they have 4, as far as I know, 4 really big time rappers that came out of there. Gunna, Playboy Cardi, Pastor Troy, and OG Mako. So that's what intrigued me the most.
Coach, let me follow up on a question that Joe was just talking about there. He was talking about your winning percentage since you've been at Creekside. I went back and took a look at your history at Creekside, and there seems to be 2 distinct periods there. Your first several years, you consistently won 7 and 8 ball games a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But over the last 4 years, that has made a significant jump. Joe, I didn't know if you noticed this, but the last 4 years, Creekside has gone 11-3, 10-3, 13-2, 10-3, and this year they're off to a 3-0 start, but not against nobodies. They beat a pretty good Rome team, and then this team against this win against DeSoto. Coach, there seems to be, maybe I'm missing the boat here, but there seems to be a shift in, I don't know if you call it culture or the way you've established a program, or what can you tell us and our audience about the change in Creekside? Is it a mentality thing? Is it a culture that you've installed? What seems to be the difference that you guys go from 7-8 ball games a year to now less than 10 wins a year?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, our program was really built from the ground up. When I took the job back in 2017, man, I first year went 0-10. I walked into a mess. So it took me a while to kind of clean it up and establish culture. And the second year we won our region and made it to the second round of the playoffs, and we were kind of stuck there for about 3 or 4 years. And then around about 2020, that group kind of punched through, and that was the first group to kind of go to the semis. We played a Grayson team that year, was ranked 7th in the country, and beat them. And then from there, it kind of took off. While I was starting the program, I did a good job of kind of going into the park system, our local park system, and helping coaches and raising kids and building teams up. And so by the time those kids got to me, it was around about 2020, 2021. And those kids kind of understood what Creekside culture was because they had been around it since they were about 5 and 6 years old. And so when you take those kids, and I've always wanted to go out and play a national schedule to see where Creekside matches up with other schools across the country. It kind of took off from there. The better competition we play, the better the outcome of the season.
So, Larry, I could tell you when this started. So I get a call out of the blue. My phone's ringing with this area code 678. I knew it was George. I was like, who the hell is this? So his OC is a guy named Trent Francis. So he calls me out of the blue in 2022, maybe 4 or 5 months before the season started. I guess he had noticed what we were doing for the other teams in the Atlanta area as far as securing them out-of-state games and TV deals and things like that. So Trent calls me and we get to talking. He's like, Joe, we want to do what the other teams are doing. We want to play great out-of-state competition. We don't care who it is. We want to play the best. So in 2022, I got them a Dutch Fork. They lost to Dutch Fork 20-14. And then I got them. Then they went to East St. Louis, Illinois, who's one of the best public programs in America annually. And they beat them 10-8 in their Gateway Scholars Classic that they have every year. Then the following year, I send St. Peter's from New Jersey, right by my house up here in Jersey, down there, and they beat St. Peter's 34-15. And then the biggie, I get a call. I get a call from Matter Day. Joe, somebody just canceled on us. We need a game on whatever date. So I call these guys, and Trent Francis goes, yeah, we'll go out there. So they went to Matter Day, who was obviously number one at the time, like they always are, and they lost 62-0. But they come back to Georgia and just end up 13-2 that year.
Mm-hmm.
And then they continued it last season at DeSoto. This season they hosted Seminoles, shut them out. Seminoles a good team from the Orlando area. They shut them out 32-0. And then in the second year game, when DeSoto, second part of the home and home, DeSoto comes to them last week and they beat them, by 42. So that's where it started with our relationship. It was Coach Trent Francis reaching out to me and saying, hey, we want to play the best. How can you help us? And that's what we're doing.
Coach, do you think like a difficult national schedule helps you at the state level?
Oh man, definitely. Once we kind of got it rolling here, and when we beat Grayson and whatever year it was, we found it very hard to find like really good in-state games to play.
Yeah.
And so I just remember talking to Trent, and Trent was like, "Man, this is a guy named Joe. He's the guy that schedules all the national games." And I said, "Well, you need to call Joe and tell them that we want to play." And so number one, it gives you kids opportunity to go places they've never went before, like going to Mater Day. None of our kids have seen the Pacific Ocean before, and they got an opportunity to see that. But you see what elite football is like.
Yeah.
So when kids talk about, I'm elite, and then you go see what elite looks like, that makes you go to practice and practice a little bit harder.
Wow.
That makes the teams you play against not you're like, man, I'm not seeing better than this. I'm not scared of nobody.
And Larry, they're in those 7 games, they're 4-3. Since they started playing out-of-state teams, they're 4-3.
Yeah. So I can see why you would say this is a signature win. Joe, in this conversation, it kind of piqued my curiosity, Coach. Joe, I think this is the first time, and we've interviewed a lot of really, really good football coaches all across the country, including the modern day coaches, St. John Bosco, Central, all these coaches. I think you were the first one out of everyone that we've interviewed said that the way you develop your talent is you go into the rec league and you start with 5-6 year old, and you build a culture from there. And by the time they get to you, they already know what the Seminole culture is. I mean, kudos to you for taking that approach. That is a good forward-thinking, long-term approach. Here's my question. So when you talk to these guys at the rec level, the middle school level, that kind of stuff, are you already talking to them about, hey, if you do well, you play for us, you get recognized on the national scene earlier than most kids do? Is that a selling point for is that like a calling card for your program now?
Well, I mean, you see it now. You don't see us get on the planes. You don't see us go play the games. And a lot of times I'll take 4 or 5 kids with me who I feel like are really good kids that are going to help us in the future.
Wow.
So just go through that process and experience it. And so, by the time they get us in high school, it's like, I've been here for 6-7 years. I know what to expect. And then, just, word of mouth and people get to seeing everything, and you just want to be a part of something different. Like in the Westlake and Langston are probably like 7 miles away from us, but none of them are jumping off the porch and doing the things that we're doing.
No way.
And the parents are seeing that, and the kids are seeing that.
Yeah, Coach, even this year, I was really down on Buford because they're not playing an out-of-state team this year on their schedule, and they always used to. They beat St. Francis a few years ago, which was one of the biggest wins in Georgia history. Every year they used to, and Coach Appling, for whatever reason, decided not to this year. Milton went to Orlando. He was there same weekend you were there. He was probably about 10 miles away from you playing the First Academy. But yeah, nobody in your area. I mean, Grayson went to and did a home and home with Thompson, which is great. But that's what you have to do, because again, kids are going to see, like, all these young kids that were at the game the other night, they're going to remember that for the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to grow up wanting to now go to Creekside, and you're going to give them those opportunities. You and I are going to give them those opportunities to go to Texas, California, Florida, New Jersey, Ohio, wherever.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
Coach, before we leave that DeSoto game and talk about the rest of your season, I read the interview questions that Joe was talking about with Todd Holcomb at Georgia High School Football Daily. By the way, it does an excellent job covering Georgia high school football. And so he asked an interesting question. Said, how much of Saturday's game was about revenge or vengeance? So I'm not going to ask you the same type of question, but I do want to follow up with that. So your kids that didn't graduate and come back this year, they know this game is coming up on their calendar, right? Mm-hmm. So after the defeat last year, I'm going to use the word embarrassing defeat. After that embarrassing defeat last year, knowing this game is coming up again, how do you get these kids that are returning mentally prepared? Was it vengeance? Was it revenge? Was it pride in your state, pride in your play? How did you sell your kids to prepare for that game?
I'm gonna be honest with you. We kind of played the game last year with our hand behind our back.
Okay.
We had some kids that didn't do what they're supposed to do while they was on the trip, and my culture and my standard is more important than anything for me and my program. So I ended up suspending about 6 kids for the game, like right before the game, and then like in the first 2 plays, one of my best D linemen got kicked out of the game. So we really out there on defense with our receivers playing DBs and our offensive linemen playing D line. So, the game just got away from us. And so for us, we just wanted to get a fair fight. Our kids knew that, if we play them at home and, if you play us in the swamp, it's a little bit different. But if we got everybody out there, DeSoto was a good team, but they just weren't 70 points better than us.
Yeah.
And so this year it was more so of, last year we didn't get no film on them. Nobody in Texas wanted to trade film with them, solid Texas, all the good stuff. Well, we got film on this year, and if we got film on you, we can game plan you. And going into the game, we felt like we was going to beat them the whole time.
Wow.
That's
Joe,
crazy.
did you know that about last year's team with the suspension? I didn't. That changes the whole context.
I didn't want to bring it up unless Coach did first, but I was told. After that game, I called Coach Francis. I go, "Hey, what's going on?" And he told me the whole situation. And my question to you is: since you did that, have you had any other problems with any players or teammates?
Oh no, because they know I'm crazy.
Of course not.
Kudos to you, Coach, for taking that approach.
They ain't trying me no more.
Larry, can you imagine? You're in high school. These 6 and 7 kids. For whatever reason, get suspended the night before the game or the day of the game, and they don't play. It worked, Coach. You sacrificed that one game for the good of the program, and look what happened 12 months later.
Mm-hmm. Coach is more important than everything, man.
Yep. And Larry, just so you know, this is a really good team, but if you go to like the rivals and the 247s and stuff like that, they only have 1 3-star player, as far as I know, on the whole roster. Sean Williams, right, Coach? The cornerback going to Florida Atlantic. That's crazy. I mean, they have 1 starred player, and it's not even a 4 or 5. They have 1 3-star on the whole roster. And then you look at what their senior quarterback did. He was 15 for 20 for 233, 4 touchdowns. He had a QBR of 153. The 2 running backs combined for like 250 yards, and they're not starred players. None of them. Coach, had they gotten calls now from colleges after that DeSoto game?
We don't have like the 3 stars and the 4 stars, but we got a lot of kids with like college offers. On offense, we probably got around about 9. On defense, we probably got like 12. And they're like group of 5 offers, FCS offers. But we got kids who are gonna play college football. Our class 27 is really, really good. Our class 27 got some good players in it. But if you do look around us and compare us to like the Westlakes and the Langstons, we don't get that caliber of player. We get a good player in 9th grade and we develop them through our JV program. And by the time they're juniors and seniors, they're really, really good football players.
Yeah, I mean, Larry, that if you that's what amazed me when I went to the recruiting services and put in Creekside by class. That only 1 3-star, but all he's saying he's got about 20, 25 really good 2-stars. So
That's right. That's right.
which is better. I'd rather have that than a couple of 5-stars or 4-stars. That's for
There you
sure.
go.
Well, let's talk about some of those outstanding players. 3 of them in particular, and you can probably rattle off a whole lot more, but 3 of them really, really stuck out to me. First of all, your quarterback, Caden Benson, seems to be having a fantastic year. So what can you tell us about him?
Oh yeah, man. He's if he was 6'1", 6'2", he'd probably be a higher rated kid, one of the top dual threats in the country. But he's about 5'10", 175 pounds. But when I tell you he's electric with the football, can run, can throw, can do everything you need for him, and for us to be successful, he has to do a better job of like making better decisions, which you have seen in the first 3 games. Because sometimes he'll try to carry it on his back, not realizing that he has guys around who are just as good as him that can stretch the field and be effective on offense. So he's a guy that he got an offer from Tuskegee, interest from like Davidson. But if he was a little bit bigger, he'd have a whole lot more because he's a really, really good football player.
Hey, Coach, I went to Dayton. That's in the same conference as Davidson. So try to push him that way so I can get to watch him every couple of years.
Okay.
Listen, this past weekend, we saw a quarterback that isn't the tallest kid in the world, kid named Thomas Castellanos. Has some pretty good skills, ran all over a Crimson and White team over the weekend,
Yeah, I played against him when he was in high school, man.
Is that right?
He's a real deal, man. I was just talking about him at practice tonight.
There's a lot of Ware County opponents, like Coffee County, is glad that he's gone. That's for sure. So, let's talk about your rushing game a little bit. You seem to have a 2-headed monster there in the Walker kid and the Kelly kid. One's a junior, one's a senior. One's averaging almost 9 yards a carry. The other was averaging almost 14 yards a carry. That's got to be be a pretty good feeling as a head coach.
Oh yeah, man, the development of Sid Kelly over this offseason has really made our program and our offense electric. He's a kid that has been in our program for 4 years and, we're just kind of here and there. But, he kind of got a good taste of it last year when we went to the semis against Mears when we moved on a running back. So this offseason we worked on him by getting stronger, running track and getting faster. We knew he had the ability to be special, but what he's done these first 3 games has been like jaw-dropping. And then, he's lightning and thunder is Gary Walker. I've been on Gary. He's one of those kids that came up through the parks with us. Last year, at the 10th grade, he tore his ACL. So that's why you don't really know about him. But Gary's 6 foot, 195 pounds. He's a Power 5 running back, man, a P4 running back. So those two together, it's, one guy's quick and then the other guy's coming in with a load and he's just as fast. So it's a lot to deal with.
Hey, Larry, those 3 kids you just mentioned accounted for like 483 yards against DeSoto.
Yeah, I believe it. Well, to have that kind of skill set behind you with that kind of offensive production, you've got to have a pretty good offensive line in front of them. So tell us about your offensive line, kids.
Okay, I'll start with on the scene that we got Javon Perry. Javon is like 6'4", about 275. He's what those modern offensive linemen look like, long, lean, and athletic. He's committed to Georgia Southern. He's a kid that I had to steal off the basketball court. I knew him in 8th grade, and I talked to him every day, and I thought I had him. But then, the basketball coach got to him, and I told his grandmama and his mother, I said, he ain't going to be no taller than about 6'4". And he barely made the basketball team in 8th grade. You need to let him come out here and play football. Well, he didn't play his first year, but he ended up playing the second year, and he kind of took it on from there. Strong as an ox, really, really athletic. He anchors the line up front. Jalen Moore is a junior. Jalen is 6'5", 290. He's a guy that has offers from Georgia, Auburn, Pitt, schools like that. And then on the inside, I got some midgets, man. My center about 6'2", 290. Caleb.
Did you call him a midget?
He ain't as far as the kind of the midgets, but Caleb has started 32 straight games.
Wow.
He started every game since he's been in 9th grade. My right guard, Rylan Roberson, now he's a midget. He puts you in the mind frame of the kid who played in the NFL that came from Coastal in North Carolina. He's about 5'10", 5'11", 270, but he's my best offensive lineman. And he's a load to deal with. Like he might be small, but he is strong and he is very, very physical and nasty. And then Lawrence Martin is a really, really good athletic lineman. So I got a good line up front. They got a lot of starts behind them, and they play well. They have a lot of chemistry. So that helps in the run game too.
Joe, a lot of coaches are they give a lot of coach speak on this show sometimes, but I love it to hear a offensive lineman described as nasty, because I think you got to have a little bit of nasty in you to be an offensive lineman, coach.
Oh, you watch that film, man, you're going to see it.
Yep. Hey, Coach, we talked about the alums that you have in the NFL. Do a lot of them close to the program? Like when you're flying out to California and need some money, do you get help from them in any way financially, or just their presence?
I wish. Unfortunately, what we do as a program, we raise the money ourselves, and
you do fundraising and things. But are they so Eric Berry? He's close to the community. Is he still in the community? Still close with the school and the other guys?
No? Eric, he stops in every once in a while. Mm-hmm. A lot of our kids come from Duncan Park, and his dad is like the head over at Duncan Park and Fairman Athletics.
Right.
So that you have that part. But not so much anybody else. Javon comes through often. Maybe because I coached him and I see his dad all the time, his younger brother. Yep. He got a couple of cousins that plays with us. Javon is there more probably than anybody else.
Yeah, I was asking that question because I don't know if you watched the Notre Dame Miami game, but on the Miami sideline, it's like every alum ever, all the high profile alums are on the sideline. So I was just wondering if you're getting that same sort of alumni support.
Man, I wish, man.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, listen, the 4A rankings, we were talking about Todd Holcomb and the Georgia High School Football Daily stuff. Those guys do an excellent job of talking about the rankings that come out. And so you're probably well aware of what the rankings look like for 4A. And they've got North Oconee, but they've got Creekside at number 2 in the state. Joe, did you know that Creekside is ranked number 2 in the state? This is the composite poll. There's like 6 ranking agencies across the state of Georgia.
Yeah, I get that newsletter every day.
I got you.
So I've seen. I didn't look at it this week to see where they were, but I can't believe after this win they're number 2. They should be number 1, but
yeah. So North Oconee must have a heck of a team. But Coach, looking at this ranking in 4A, you've got some stellar teams on this list. Benedictine, we talked about Ware County a while ago. They look to be returning to form as a national power, not a national, but a state power. They won a state championship a couple years ago. Cartersville's on there. Kell's on there. Warner Robins on there. A lot of these teams are former state champions. So how, looking at your schedule for the rest of the year in the regular season, which teams are going to help you to prepare for that playoff run, do you think? I know that's kind of a loaded question because you got to talk about some teams.
Come on, it's one game at a time, Larry.
Yeah, it's one game at a time. Our next opponent is Forest Park, and we'll get through them. Traditionally, teams like Mays are tough teams in our region that we play against.
Yeah,
they're usually the 2 seed. But other than that, man, we're preparing for the playoffs. Those teams you talked about, we played Kell last in the playoffs. We went up to Cartersville maybe 2 or 3 years ago and played them. We played Ware. We haven't played Benedictine, but in 4A it's about small town Georgia, man. Those cities, and they shut down on Friday Night Football.
Yeah, and
they're all focused on community, and that community funds those programs to have every advantage that they can have on Friday nights. So when you're preparing for the 4A race, you kind of got to prepare for your region on one hand, but you got to be looking at what those other teams preparing for them too.
I never really thought about that, Joe, but Coach, you are exactly right. A lot of these teams are from small towns single school programs in these communities, and that whole community gets by. Listen, I spend a lot of time in my work over there in Waycross and Ware County, and I know that whole county is sold out for Ware County. Benedictine's the same way. A lot of these teams are Warner Robins the same way. A lot of these teams fit that bill that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to say us and Warner Robins had like a rivalry over the last couple of years, man. We played them in the playoff like 3 straight years. We had to get through them in order to make it to the state championship. So it's a lot of respect for that program.
Mm.
So, Coach, last year you had to go through, I guess, the final 3. It was North Oconee, Marist, and you, right, for the most part?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're planning on this year? What's it looking like? Did a lot of those teams, did they reload, or is it going to be the same 3 or 4?
I felt like last year the only team that would have gave us problems was Marist.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing them in the semifinals, just the style of play. Coach Chadwick is a great coach.
Yeah, he is.
You got to be prepared to play 4 quarters against him. We played a half of really good football against them. Couldn't finish them off in the second half. But I know that team lost like 25 seniors.
Yeah, and then Marist lost to North Oconee 14-7 in the finals.
Yeah, but I want to say that we kind of, after you play Creekside, it takes you a couple of weeks to recover that game.
Yeah.
We were looking at that matchup against North Oconee like that's a favorable matchup because of the style of play, similar to ours. So with this year, I'll be real with you. I feel like we're the best team in 4A. We just got to keep getting better every week.
Hey, Larry, I'm gonna commit right now. If they make it to the finals, you and I are going to that game. I'm flying down, and we're going to that game.
Absolutely, Coach. We started this program tonight talking about bulletin board material, that kind of stuff. I think you just gave some 4A programs some bulletin board material.
I mean, it really is what it is. They know what. I mean, everybody know I'm a nice guy, but our kids have worked really hard for this opportunity. And to be where we were last year, and still make it to the semifinals, you see the improvement of the team. And it's a team that returned 19 starters. So you see the improvement over the first 3 games. And so you kind of got to respect it. I think we're a really good team.
Hey, Coach, do you pay attention to any of the polls out there?
I mean, I used to, but they don't really mean nothing. The only one that means something is the one at the end of the year. Yep.
Yeah. So you're in this week, our poll, National High School Football, we have you at number 24, just so you know.
Okay.
All right, we're moving on up. I love it.
Yep. Yeah.
I love it.
One of our goals as a program was to be a top 25 team at the end of the year. So that's really exciting.
All right. So now I've got an up and coming prominent head coach, Georgia, wants to play a national schedule. I've got a national scheduler on the screen as well. So you've played DeSoto the last couple of years. Who's next on the radar?
Man, whoever shows up.
Yeah, that's what I love about Larry. That's what I love about these guys as a client.
Yeah,
they truly, whatever I bring their way, they're like, okay. Like if I would have brought Matter Day to somebody, 9 out of 10 teams would have said no, thank you. They said, okay, how much money? Okay, well, let's do it. And they were there a month later. It's unbelievable. So that again, we live by the moniker. Our hashtags: play the best, anyone, anywhere, and no cowards allowed. I mean, they embody why we started this company 10 years ago for teams that want to play the best anywhere in America. So I'm going to be pitching a lot of great teams, after the season about where they want to go next year. I'm going to be pitching some of the best, and which means they're going to be playing one of the best teams next year somewhere.
Who I naturally thought of when it comes to Creekside, just because Coach, the coach that we interviewed last week, Mike Smith, you and he have very similar personalities. You have similar goals for your program. Joe, I would love to see a Creekside American Heritage matchup. I just think that's a natural fit.
That's doable. I mean, Fort Lauderdale to where you are, that's a doable trip, right, Coach?
Oh yeah, that's a flight. There ain't no bus ride.
Yep. So yeah, that's doable. And now that I'm spending so much time in Bama because of my son, I'm thinking Thompson,
absolutely,
Hoover, you at Trustville, Phoenix City Central with Coach Nix. Yeah, that's who I'm thinking. Those are easy trips.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Or South Carolina, or Dutch Fork again. There's so many. I always like to. I start at Creekside, and then I'll draw a radius, and we'll start close and then go out. But listen, he went to California. He got a great deal when he went to California. Matter Day paid him handsomely. So if we could do that again and play a really good Cali team, we'll do that too.
Yeah. I mean,
Coach, I would love to see you down here in Lowndes playing my Vikings down here. How about that? Home and home with Lowndes.
Hey man, I don't think Adam want to play that game.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, you don't want to. We got to watch out. The refs down there are kind of like,
Come on now, those are Atlanta refs that come down. I keep telling you that.
That gate closed when you go into that stadium, man. I know what it's like, man. Adam was a good buddy. We went to college together in West Georgia, so I played him when we played Grayson. He was the head coach there, so he knows what to expect when you play Creekside.
Awesome.
Hey, you know what I'm thinking, Larry? Coach, you have a lot of kids coming back next year?
Yeah. My 27 class is really, really loaded.
So I'm thinking, Larry, like St. Francis or somebody like that.
Yeah.
That would be outstanding. But we'll talk after the season, and we'll make something happen for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Joe, you got any more questions for the coach?
No, I'm good. I just want to tell him I'm really, really happy back in 2022 that Coach Francis reached out to me. It's been a great relationship since. You guys are desirable opponent for all the right and just reasons. So keep doing what you're doing, man, and we're going to be watching from afar, rooting you on.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
Coach, it's been a pleasure. Glad to meet you. Joe, I'm so glad that you reached out and set up this interview. Coach, this has been a blast. This has been a fun discussion about high school football and your program. Best of luck to you for the rest of the season. And so hopefully Joe and I will see you at the state championship game later on this year.
There you go, man. We're going to be there. That's a date. Try it, pride, man. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Coach. Guys, listen, if you've enjoyed this conversation, go back and watch all our other discussions with top-tier head coaches all across the country. And now you've seen Maurice Dixon, head coach of Creekside. And check us out on our website, nationalhsfb.com. So for Joe Mamone, I'm Larry Godwin. You guys have been watching another great episode of nationalhsfb.com. We'll catch you guys next time.